Hi guys, Dr. Angus Pike here from Life Chiropractic in Port Melbourne. In today's video, I'm going to discuss with you one of the most overlooked factors when it comes to getting long-term relief with back pain. So hang around, we'll talk more about this soon. So welcome back. In today's video, we're going to discuss one of the most overlooked factors when it comes to dealing with and getting long-term relief with back pain. So if you've been coming along for your adjustments, if you've been exercising, if you feel like you've been doing everything right, but you're still having difficulty, if you're still suffering from that sore, cranky, aching back, then today's video is right for you. The interesting thing is when we think about back pain, we start to think about all the physical things. So on a weekly basis, I'll have somebody come into the practice and they'll say something like this: "Oh, I got up yesterday morning and my back has been so sore and I can't work out why. It's not like I've lifted anything differently. I'm not doing any different exercises. It's not like I've fallen over or been sitting for a long time." And we look for physical causes that might be contributing to their low back pain. Now, invariably, following this kind of story, the next thing I like to ask is this: how's life going at the moment? How are the stresses at work or at home? Now, the answer never ceases to amaze me. And generally, in probably almost 8 or 9 cases out of 10, the response is very similar. They tell me that things at work at the moment are incredibly stressful. Maybe things at home are stressful. Maybe it's, things are busy at the moment with kids. Perhaps their partner is away and they're looking after the 2 or 3 kids all by themselves. Maybe they've got a major project on at work at the moment, or they look back and they might be able to relate that, you know what, Angus, the last 2 or 3 months have been some of the most stressful months of my life. Now, as we begin to understand more about back pain, then we're starting to understand that stress plays a major role in it. So not just physical stress, like I slipped down the stairs, I got into a car accident, but emotional life stress is a real contributor to low back pain. So let me explain a little bit of some of the contributing mechanisms, and then we'll get into some solutions as well. But when we become stressed, our brain goes into this fight-flight mode. It's incredibly protective. It's a wonderfully intelligent response, and a response that's literally hundreds of thousands of years old. So in the days of us being hunters and gatherers and cavemen, when we were under stress, very often it was a life-threatening event. We were about to be chased by a lion or a tiger or something similar. And so we had this response, some changes that happened to my body, and particularly there are some postural changes that happen as well. My body tends to kind of get into this fighting position from here. My head goes forwards. My back muscles tighten up. My glute muscles tighten up. So in around my bottom, my hamstrings will tighten up. These immediate postural changes from there too either help me fight the lion or tiger, or they allow me to flee, to get away from the lion or tiger as well. As that happens, there are other biochemical changes that happen inside of us that, when they're there long term, actually ramp up my ability to sense pain. They literally amplify the pain signals as well. So the difference was, back in those days, hundreds of thousands of years ago, that stressful event was in most cases a 5-minute event. We either got away from the lion or tiger or we got eaten. The difference nowadays, whilst we're not being chased by the lion or tiger, it's no longer a 5-minute stress in most of our lives anymore. That stress can become pervasive. It ends up being 24/7 and often, as I mentioned before, can go for months. The long-term result of that is often we start to get achy and pains throughout our body, and the back, and particularly the low back, is one of those areas that really commonly pops up as well. So if you've been suffering from low back pain, if you've been pitching up for your adjustments, if you've been doing all your exercises and all the things that you feel that you ought to be doing and you're not getting some results, how are your stress levels? How are things going at home? How are things in your, I don't want to dive into it, but how are things in your relationship? How's stuff going with your kids? Is work going well at the moment? Are there worries in around that? And think about that stress. And did that stress start to go up around the same time that you were getting aches and pains? In fact, there are entire books written on the relationship between back pain and stress. I think it's a guy by the name of Sano writes at great length about it as well. So stress is one of those things that's very difficult for us to get rid of. So rather than us focusing on trying to get rid of it, let's talk about some of my favorite stress coping mechanisms. Right up there at number 1 has to be, and it's been an absolute life changer for me, is meditation. Now, meditation doesn't have to be any fancy kind of spiritual or religious experience. For me, when I had those ideas around it, I failed at meditation. Meditation for me is all about quiet time focused on my breathing. Now, in fact, in coming up, I'll shoot a whole video all about meditation because I'll give you some of my helpful tips about that. But here's my number one tip with meditation. Download an app on your phone called Headspace. Headspace is a free app to download, and it has a free trial program called Take 10, where it encourages you through 10 days of just 10 minutes of meditation at a time. So if you don't have 10 minutes each day to meditate for 10 days, then you need to meditate for 20 minutes. So meditation is one of those things that allows us to calm the brain down. It gets us out of that fight, flight, stress mode and into what we know as the parasympathetic rest and digest. And I've had times personally where I've been able to decrease the intensity of my back pain within 3 or 4 minutes of meditating and from doing nothing else other than that. So download Headspace would be tip number one. Tip number two to help you deal with stress is go for a walk. Going for a walk, there is now a wealth of research done from around the globe and in many different formats that shows the wonderful impact that just going for a walk. Now, it can be as little as a 10-minute walk, but I think 20 minutes is great. And we're not talking about a power walk. This can be just a stroll. Outside, walking improves just about every aspect of somebody's health and well-being, and particularly it has a great impact on mental health. Allows us to cope better with stress and things that might have worried us beforehand. Sometimes after work don't worry us at all. Okay, so tip number one, meditate. Tip number two, go for a walk. Do that each and every day. I've noticed over the last 5 months, we've got a puppy now, and we end up walking him twice a day. It's noticeable the difference in how well I feel. I was active beforehand, but by just ramping up nothing other than my walking, I feel better than ever as well. Number three, don't want to get airy-fairy with this kind of thing, but there's something magical about the power of gratitude. When we're focused on what we're grateful for and what we're appreciative of as well, those things that were stressing us beforehand can often start to decrease. The world of positive psychology has done many studies on the power of gratitude. And just the simple process of before you go to bed at night, getting a journal and writing down to somewhere between 3 and 5 things that you're truly grateful for. Now, these don't have to be enormously profound things. Perhaps you can be just, grateful for the fact that your kids made their bed this morning. Maybe you're grateful for the dinner that you got to have tonight. You went out for dinner and you got some great service, and you're really grateful for the experience that the waiter or the waitress gave you. So, there are times that I write down things that, when I've driven to work that morning and it's been rainy and those kind of things, I'm really grateful for the person that services my car. That means that it stops and drives well as well. So whatever it is, come up with 3 different things, maybe up to 5 things that you can be grateful for. Try and change them each and every day. Dive in and start to think about what you're grateful for. And what has been shown is the mere act of focusing on, when we focus on something, that's what we tend to think about as well. So gratitude, I think, is one of the most powerful forces in the world. So in summary, here, think about meditation, go for a walk. Gratitude is the key. So if you're not quite getting the results with your back, your neck, your body, you're having pain that just won't go away, and you're doing all the things that either Dr. Kirby or myself are talking to you about, which is getting there for your adjustments, doing your exercises, those kind of things there too, then check in. How are your stress levels? Okay, did those stress levels tend to peak up right around the same time that your stress rose as well? So if that rings a bell, think about those 3 tips as well, and I'd love to hear what results. If you've got some other great stress-busting tips, let us know down below here as well. I'd love to have some other input that we can share with the rest of our patients. So as always, gang, thanks so much for watching this video. Stay well, be well, get moving, meditate, and think about what you're grateful for. So until next time, this has been Dr. Angus Pike on behalf of Life Chiropractic. See you soon.